Well, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Mondays with Megan. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And I have a special guest for you waiting in the wings right now, waiting in the wings. He may not be, oh, you can see him already, but that's okay. He's waiting in the wings for a moment. And so, hello, hello. If we haven't seen each other in a while, or if we haven't met yet, I'm excited to meet you and to be here. Yes, hide. You're going to love him. You're going to love him. Okay, so before I introduce Tony, one moment, please. So I would love to just share a little bit about why I'm here with you and what we're going to be talking about today. So inside the energized and empowered entrepreneur community, we have loads of new people and you may not have met me yet. So hello, hello, hello. My name is Megan Nolan and I help success-driven women to press pause on their busy lives to overcome overwhelm and stress so that they can be profitable and productive. And while I know that I can help you with that using the tools of yoga and movement and breath work and all that goodness, I know that there is a lot more to you as a being and as a business owner. So it is my honor to bring in special guests, including my very special guest that I have with me today, Tony. Tony, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing really well. Nice to see you and nice to be here in this amazing space with you.
Yay! Oh my goodness. So I want everyone to meet you and I want to give you a couple minutes here to tell us more about you and how you got here and why you do what you do and all that good stuff. And while you do that, I'm going to just make sure things are actually happening behind the scenes and then we will continue our conversation. So take it
Sounds
away.
lovely. Well, thank you so much, first of all, Megan, for having me here. Yes, as Megan said, my name is Tony. I am a business strategist, certified life coach, and NLP practitioner. And I absolutely I'm obsessed with helping busy coaches, trainers, and healers predominantly up-level their life to more income, impact, and freedom. And I do that through alignment, through authenticity, through ensuring that they are creating offers that are so them and so aligned with who they are, meaning their core values, their non-negotiables, their time, if you will, and making sure that they are really showing up in a way that allows them to vibe in their creative zone of genius. Like, I don't know about all of you, but there's nothing worse than doing something that doesn't serve you, doing something that doesn't feel in flow. So I'm a big believer in you got to be in flow or game over. And you know, that's a big part of my story, right? Like I mean, I'm sure we'll go into this, but I have been out of flow for a lot of my life, believe you me. And this was a big learning lesson for me over the years, just in terms of sitting into who I truly am, and then realizing that's a superpower, and it is for you as well. So that's the spiel.
The spiel, everybody.
Yes.
Woo! So good. So I know that you are all going to love Tony. And so I'm excited for those of you that are here live with us and for those of you that are catching us later with the replay. So as you arrive, drop it in the chat and let us know where you are watching from. We are a global community. Yay!
Yay.
And Tony's actually all the way in Ontario. And you may or may not know, I'm originally from Ontario, but I live in the middle of the ocean now. So we have Ontario and Maui and all of that goodness represented. So
I just love that you live in the middle of the ocean. I love that, like that. I love that someone watching could be like, really? You literally live like on a boat? I love it.
Well, it is the most isolated landmass on all of the planet, the Hawaiian Islands. So yes, wow. Technically it is the middle of the ocean, right? I'm not like swimming out here.
No, I love it. I love everything about it.
Oh, yes. Oh, and we have Adele, who is also located on the beautiful island of Maui, which is awesome.
Hi, Adele.
Hi, Adele. Adele has superpowers. She is a WordPress magician of amazingness. So I'm glad that you're here, Adele. So, Tony, let's talk a little bit about authenticity and what authenticity means to you.
Awesome. Yeah. So my big thing is, as I said before, is I really believe that there is no way for us to truly succeed in the long run if we're not serving our core values, like what we really believe in. And I think so many of us get so foggy about what we believe in because we get so conditioned, right? Like from an early age, usually within the re-imprinting phase when we're young kids, we're told what to do, we're told how to do it, we're told where to go, we're told, you know, we get into schooling systems and we're told that we're a number, not a human, and we lose all of this ability to be in touch with our instincts and our inner child and the part of us that is so real. And so the word authentic, it's funny, I use this a lot in my business because for me, like authentic elicits this idea almost like a certificate of like authenticity when something is like truly fully itself certified. And I want you to be certified you, right? Like this idea of like you are 1000% you. And I think for me anyway, the other A word that I really love is alignment, and we have to align into that authenticity. And for me, alignment is it's not a cerebral concept. It's like literally a visceral feeling, right? Like it's like an intangible. It's like that little thing when you just feel right. Like it just feels right. It feels good. It feels like this, you know, the round peg in the round hole, not the round peg in the square hole. And inversely, when we're not in alignment, you feel it. It's like this guttural level, like something is just not right. And what that is you sidestepping your non-negotiables, basically you sidestepping your core values. So that's a huge element of what I do in my business. And I think business building needs it. I think there's a lot of great business building people out there. But I really believe alignment, authenticity, mindset, that all has to be in place or anything we build is unstable.
I love that. And I really love that you spoke to core values. And so I would invite people that are here live and later to let us know what some of your core values are. And so one of the reasons that Tony and I aligned so well is that authenticity is certainly one of mine, as well as integrity and play and fun and growth. And so we would love to hear some of your core values and really how you just share those with us. So we'd love to have that conversation with you. So how can we use that authenticity, that essence that is so uniquely us, or you, beautiful listeners and watchers, to grow our business?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the short answer is in a multitude of ways, right? Like I think it's absolutely everything. But like let's talk about some tangibles. Let's talk about some real tangible ways to do that. So the first one, we keep talking about core values, and I love that authenticity is one of yours. It's definitely mine as well. Integrity as well, play as well, travel, like, you know, adventure is a huge one for me. So I think the first thing you got to do is you got to figure out like, what is my number one top core value, right? Like ask yourself that. And the reason you want to know that is because everything in your life is either going to be a creative expression of that core value, or it's going to be out of line with you. Like you're going to feel really off, right? So in other words, like whenever you have any crisis in your life, be it a relationship issue, be it like an inner conflict or turmoil, be it like you're mad about the person honking behind you in the car, any kind of like thing happening and that's shaking you to your core is only ever because it's not in line with your core values, right? So I think what we've got to do is we've got to figure out like, what is my number one core value? And think about a time in your life or in your business where you felt super out of alignment. And I can almost guarantee it's because it was so far away from that core value. Like it was literally just not even in the same ballpark. So I think like that's step one, you recognize it. And then you ask yourself, how can I infuse more of that core value into my business, into my life, into the things I care about? So for me, it was very much like, at the time I was running a group coaching program that was just not me. Like it was just so out of line with me because like so many people in the online space, I was like, I'm just going to follow what everyone else says you do and the cookie cutter. And like, I won't reinvent the wheel. I'll just do what everyone else is doing. This seems to be working. And all of a sudden I had this group program with, at the time, 7 people in it. And I remember feeling dread about showing up. And I'm like, what am I doing? This is what I want to do with my life. I love helping people. I love group. I have this successful program with people in it. Why am I feeling dread for showing up? And the answer was, it had nothing to do with my core values. In fact, not only was I outside of my non-negotiables, meaning I was showing up way more than I promised myself I would. So I was giving way more of my time away than I promised myself. So I was already out of my integrity, but it also, the program itself had like, it was so far removed from what I believe in and my core values that it's like I was literally, Megan, teaching someone else's program. Like that's what it felt like. I was like, I am literally showing up and I'm like a substitute teacher. Like that's what it felt like. So it was that discovery. And talk about transparency and honesty. That day, I basically on that call that day, I got onto the call with my group. And I literally said, I have a confession to make in front of all of you. And that is that this program is not in my core values. I want to use this as a teaching moment for all of you. Funny story, it led to the best call we ever had and completely changed the program. So we literally, and then they helped me up level the program. They were like, we'll help you. Like, we're going to make this. And then that became the fundamental like foundation of what I teach other people to do now, build programs where your members help you build it. So it's so cool, right? Yeah.
So cool. And look where it led, right? And it's really about being open and receptive and willing to be honest and be in integrity and step forward and say, you know what, this isn't in alignment with me, but how can we grow together? How can we make it better? Because it's always an evolution, right? We start with one incarnation of our program and then it continues to evolve, just like we are continually evolving. I love that.
Yeah, exactly. The constant refinement, right? Like the constant innovation or iteration. And I think, with so many of us in the online space, we get, if you're watching this right now and you've fallen into that perfectionism, just know that we all do that. Like it's human, right? But yes, right. But
I'm like, wait, let me put my hands up higher.
But it's progress over perfection. And this idea that like, we can't know what is perfect for our audience until they tell us. We can't. Everything else is just, pontificating. Everything else is just going like, I think this would be really great, right? But my big thing is like, what you've got to do is you've got to stop making statements and start asking questions of your audience. And it's
a writer downer.
Right. That is a writer downer. That is a dropper micer writer downer. But it's like when you start to do that, I was just really Canadian to hear that. And when you start to do that, but there's something beautiful and authentic about doing that, because so many people in the world today just want to tell you what to do. But the people that actually have the courage to ask you what you want, those are the people you gravitate to, right? Because those are the people that aren't afraid to be fully transparent and aren't afraid to be wrong. And I think, and wrong is a weird word, but aren't afraid to be, like completely whatever it is, what it is, right? Like in other words, right versus wrong, true and false. I tend to use true or not true because I don't think anything is right or wrong. I think it's just true to you or not true to you. So a big thing I employ with my programs, especially when I do Q&As or when I teach something, is I'll literally turn around and ask my audience, I'll be like, I'll say to them, like, if this isn't resonating for you, that's totally fair. And I would love to hear why. Like, I would love to hear what isn't resonating for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And I think community-driven programs, that's where I gravitate to. And that's what I do best in as a client as well. So that's kind of what I like to facilitate as well with my network.
I love that, because a lot of the times we sort of put coaches and teachers on this pedestal of like, oh, they know exactly what it's supposed to be like, and I should follow their strategy step by step. And if it doesn't feel like it suits us or our truths or our needs, we can kind of feel like, am I just, haphazardly like following something that doesn't really feel that good to me? And then it turns out that, half the time, because you aren't pouring your magic into it and allowing it to be that full expression of you, then it does feel kind of flat and cookie cutter. And something else you said that really the stop making statements and start asking questions. That's so beautiful, because people love to be involved in the conversation, right? And allowing yourself to be, malleable and flexible is really such a beautiful way to stay present with with their needs and be able to allow it to grow and evolve in alignment with what your community actually needs versus what you think they need, because half the time we are wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it's not too dissimilar from like a long-term relationship, right? Like when you are with, when, like, I know for me, like my partner, like, and we have taught each other so much, like even through the like arguments and fights, because it's a reflection, right? They're reflecting you back to them. And I think, like, you know, I'm not going to use it as a direct parallel, but I am going to say that when you show up knowing that, there's always, like, I love what you said, there's always more to innovate. There's always more to do, right? There's always more to find or more tweaking. And I think you've got to show up with that in mind, especially in the world today, because people, I think today are very much, they do love transparency, but I think to be truly transparent, you've got to find the duality, right? Between showing up as a leader, but showing up as a leader who is not afraid to, like, jump into the trenches with people and help them through whatever they're going through. And I think to do that, you've also got to be completely authentic and honest with them. Because, you know, I may have an incredible, like, I may have amazing things to say to my audience and to my clients. I might have great gems to drop, and that's awesome. And it happens often, but I'm also human. And I also might not know the answer to the question they have. And to be able to go, look, like, I'm going to tell you what I think, what I would do in that situation. I'm also going to be a rock for you. I'm going to be a strength that you need, but I'm also not going to be up on a pedestal and pretend I have all the answers when I don't. Right. And I think that's what people want. That's what people want now more than anything.
I 100% agree with you. I love that. And that makes me resonate with people even more if they're willing to say, you know what, I'm not really sure, but I'll find out for you. You know,
yeah,
or,
because you trust them, right? Like you trust them to tell you, they're not just telling you what you want to hear. They're telling you what they know. And you're much more likely to trust that that person is going to source that information for you. And I think, like, let me just tell you, it's so funny, like, to be here having this conversation, because, like, Megan, I came from, like, the complete opposite. Like, I grew up as a queer kid. I grew up in the closet. I grew up, like, literally pretending my entire life. Like, I was always pretending to be someone other than I was. And it led to some really toxic patterns. And I'm going to be completely transparent and say there was a time in my life where, like, what I'm describing right now was me. Like, I was that person that was like, I have all the answers and I am bulletproof and I'm not and, you know, and it's so great because in realizing that, it was when I realized that I was able to, like, move through it and realize it was just insecurity. It was conditioning. It wasn't, you know, I wasn't doing anything with malice, but it was coming from a place of, you know, this really terrible belief that I learned that you've got to be this certain thing in order to be enough. And I know you have incredible entrepreneurs watching this right now. It's not dissimilar to some of the stuff we see in the online space that's like 6-figure coach, 7-figure coach. This is what it looks like. Laptop lifestyle, Lamborghini. And we see these things and we're like, and it's disheartening to a lot of people, especially if they're newer, because they get this very skewed view of what the online space looks like. And let me just tell you, and I love this about you too, Megan, that you're so authentic. Like, peek behind the curtain, we all have struggles. We all have days where we feel like completely annihilated, where we all have doubt. Like, doubt is one thing when people talk about, you know, in marketing, especially, you know, like, we're going to give you, like, you're going to be bulletproof or you're never going to fall again or anything like that. I'm like, that's bullshit. We literally have doubt. Like, the door of doubt is always going to be knocking throughout your life. Right.
Oh, for sure.
But it's the tools we learn and the self-worth we build to be able to handle and weather the storms. Like, that's what being authentic means to me, is like, I'm going to be completely present to whatever happens. And I'm not going to be afraid to tell the people that mean the most to me, i.e. my audience, my loved ones, whatever, exactly where I am and what I'm going through. Right. Like, in a completely honest way.
And that's so potent. And I think there's a very fine line between sharing to connect and then oversharing to, like, falsify this vulnerability, which, you know, neither of us do. And hopefully nobody in the audience does. But I do think that it's such a potent tool set to be able to be willing to be authentic. I'm like, pick another word, Megan.
Yes.
To be clear and to be transparent, but also to just be willing to put ourselves out there. And that's part of the vulnerability of it, because, you know, we put ourselves out there sometimes on a post and then it's like, can anybody see this?
Yes.
You know,
Is
and it's like, we're
anybody
not
there?
looking. Yes,
Hello.
exactly.
And I think that I'm so glad you mentioned this, because like the next kind of level of this, or the next step, if you will, of this is like, I like to teach authenticity, strategy, creativity. That's my triangle of life. That's what everything I do revolves around. And the theory is, and it is a theory, although it is based on science, because life is all built around the triangle of life: thinking, feeling, doing. But the idea is, when you have authenticity, and that's like you're saying, your vulnerability, your honesty, your integrity, and over here you have strategy. And strategy to me is problem solving. It's your ability to sort of see beyond sight. It's your ability to like figure out, like it's more formulaic, right? Like, because strategy, it says, okay, you're going to be authentic and bring yourself, but bring yourself with a strategy that connects to your business, that connects to your aligned right clients, that it has a very specific view, right? And then where they meet in the middle is creativity. And creativity is great because, like, literally as entrepreneurs, we're masters of creativity. That's what we do for a living. We create shit, right? We create something out of nothing. That's what we do. That's literally our job description. Yeah, right? So my big thing is like, and I love that you mentioned that, is that it's not just about like, I'm just going to show up and I'm just going to like, every day I'm going to go live and I'm going to tell you all the shit that's going wrong in my life. And I'm going to eat cheesies and I'm going to be in my pajamas. Like, by all means, if that's your vibe and that's your brand, all for it, right? But that's kind of not the point, because the point is, what you want to do is you want to take your strategy, and your strategy is like, this is when we get into like, what are your goals? What are your outcomes? What is it that your business does? Who do you serve? What's the problem you solve? And then we want to put it through the lens of authenticity, right? Like, we want to make sure that we're showing up in our strategies. And that's where creativity, because literally when you go, okay, I've got me in my pajamas with Cheetos talking about a problem, and I've got, I need 5 clients in my new offer by next, by September. Creativity is where those two meet, right? It's when you go, okay, so how can I have that outcome? How can I build a strategy to that outcome that allows me to sit in my vulnerability and authenticity that gives me the outcome I want? And that's where the creativity comes up. It's to me, it's so obvious when you realize it. Everything's the Wizard of Oz, by the way. If I only had a heart, the brain, the nerve, thinking, feeling, doing. Life, we're all Dorothy. Right? We're all Dorothy, right? Like, trying to get back home. And the irony is that you're already home. You are all 3. So yes, right? So, and I just gave you a sneak peek.
I'm like,
I just gave you a sneak
anybody
peek.
Anybody else blown right away? I'm like, what? Hold please.
Yeah. Right? Like, we're all wearing the glass slippers. We're all going, if I, I just want to go home. And so many of us online, like, hear me out on the rest of this analogy. So many of us in the online space, or as entrepreneurs, are like, oh, I just want to go home. And home to us is like, maybe the 6-figure business, maybe living in the middle of the ocean, like where you are. Maybe it is, I don't know, going to Paris or going wherever it is for you. I call it the big why, right? So we all want to go home. And what we have to do is we have to go on this journey of thinking, feeling, doing, of brain, heart, courage, which is, in other words, for me, I call it authenticity, which is, who am I and what do I believe in? What are my core values? What are my non-negotiables? And what do I really like? What am I really damn good at? Like, what is the unique thing that I'm so good at? And then we go into the heart place, which is, for me, is all about creativity, right? So this idea of like, what can I creating something out of nothing. And then we go into the courage, the actual moving forward, the actually like putting it into play, right? Which again is that strategy piece. Like, how can I move forward on this strategy now? So we go to all these places, but the only reason we go to all these places is so we can realize that we didn't need all of those places. Right. We had it all along. And that's the beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur that so many entrepreneurs don't realize, and it's why I'm on my soapbox here, is that you have everything you need. And very few people online, besides like a select few of us, like Megan, like myself, like these incredibly intuitive, heart-centered coaches, are going to tell you, you have everything you need. All you got to do is remember that you have everything you need. And that's the beauty of the journey of life, right? So it's like, and I'm so passionate about this stuff because it's my journey as much as it's yours, as much as it's everyone watching, right? Like, and it never ends, by the way. The journey never ends, but that's the journey.
It's brought a tear to me. I am not gonna lie.
Oh, I know, right?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so can you all see why I wanted you to meet Tony? Hello. You're welcome. So, Monsieur, I know that you have something incredible coming up. Will you please tell us more about it?
Absolutely. Absolument.
Absolument.
Absolument. Yes, I will. I'll tell you about it. Okay.
Wow. Est-ce que tu parles français?
Je parle un petit peu de français. Yes. My family, half of my family, my mom's side is from French Canada, from Trois-Rivières in in Quebec. So yes. What was that?
Très bien.
Oh, merci. Okay, so what Megan was hinting at was yes, I do have something super exciting coming up. So on the next Monday, actually June 13 to 15, I am running a 3-day virtual event and conference called Authentic Biz Live. And I'm so excited about it. I just got off the phone with my team about it. We are basically I'm going to make this really short.
It's all good. Go ahead. I'm just putting the link in the chat right now. So keep going.
Awesome. So you're going to spend 3 days completely focused on aligning with your biz. Like, that's the main thesis statement here. Like, you're setting aside 3 days and you're focusing on aligning your biz to your core values, to your non-negotiables, and making sure that you're building a biz that is a creative reflection of you. The tangible, if you will, is that you're going to walk away having created a long-term offer in your business that, like I described earlier, is completely aligned with who you are in every way, shape, or form. And this comes from me doing this over the last 10 years. This comes from me really figuring this out for myself and creating it into a succinct, live, real-time event that's going to be super fun, by the way. Like, we're going to have dance parties. We're going to be doing networking events. We're going to have these incredible sessions that are just based on specific intuitive action. And you're going to walk away feeling like, shit, I can do this. Not only can I do this, but like, I have to do this. This is so important, and it's so bigger than me. So that's what we're going to do. That's the 3 days in a nutshell.
And can't you tell how amazing he is? And it's going to be like jam-packed with value. How much did you get out of this like little mini session that we had? And already we were like learning about triangles, metaphors blowing your mind. Seriously, think about what 3 days with this beautiful human would do for you.
And by the way, I completely transplanted that from my event day one, because the first session we do is all about the Wizard of Oz and the 3. But I was like, I got to bring it in. So we're gonna go deep into that. Yeah, because it's everything I do. Literally everything I do is based on the narrative of think, feel, do, which is the triangle of life. And the story of the Wizard of Oz is the story of life.
I love that. I'm like, I can't.
And you'll love this in your world. It's very simply put, I think, therefore I feel, therefore I do. And the only thing you got to do to get success is to master your mind.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir on that one. The shitty committee is really noisy over here.
By the way, we were on that call the other day and you said shitty committee, and I was like, I need to write that down immediately. Like, I love that saying. It's so powerful and it's so funny, and I love funny. That's the other thing, Megan. Like, we're gonna be laughing over those 3 days.
I know,
too.
my face is hurting like right now in a really good way, but I'm like,
I think laughing is the best way to actually learn, because when we laugh, we're disarmed. Our ego gets disarmed, right? And then we go, oh, that's so funny. And then that's when we actually have the biggest breakthroughs, because we're laughing. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Like, and we're weaving in some comedic elements too, because like, we're a big believer in that. So.
I'm a big believer in that too. Play, definitely, levity. Like we all take life and ourselves far too seriously. And especially when it comes to business, right? We're like, well, I must be this and that, you know, and it's like your
Yes.
whole message is coming from that place of integrity with self and fully expressive and using these elements of your copy, your creatives, your business, your lives, whatever it is, to be that full expression of yourself. So
Ah,
definitely click the link below in the comments, and then later on I'll have it up in the description above. It'll be all over the place. Okay.
yeah, and
And then
let me just say, Megan, that
yes.
this, like we were chatting, I was chatting with my team earlier, and I promise you all this is not hyperbole. This is easily a $3,000 event. Like when you see what we're doing, we have guest
Mhm.
speakers, we have networking events, like plus like if this were done in person, you would be paying for flights and hotels and all of that. This is going to be an unforgettable experience. We've created an actual virtual stage. Like you're going to see it. It's going to be really cool.
Ooh.
But it would be easily a $3,000 investment, and you would be happy with that investment. We brought it down to a ticket price of $497, but until Wednesday, we've slashed that down to $97 for the 3 days. So it's like a total no-brainer, and we are almost full. So we have a few seats left, but I would love to see you guys there, you folks there in this group. And also happy Pride. I forgot to say that at the beginning. Happy Pride.
Yay. And if you're not aware of this already, educational investments are a tax deductible write-off.
Yes, they
Neither
are.
of us, neither of us are accountants, so please check with your accountant on that one. But my accountant and Tony's accountant will both.
Totally. That's
They
like, you
are.
literally sound like my accountant. They're like, don't forget. Yeah.
Put it on the spreadsheet, everybody. It's totally tax deductible. All right, love it. Well, before we sign off and say au revoir, is there anything that we didn't get to that you would love to drop in, or does anybody have any questions or anything for Tony that's here live or later? Let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything to
I
kind of
think the
sign off?
biggest thing I want to say is sort of like a PSA, if you will. And that is
Okay.
look, we are in extremely unprecedented times, right? Like we are the world has ever seen in the last two years. We're potentially on the verge of a recession that is maybe the biggest we've ever had. And they're like everything possible right now in the world is telling you to give up. And Megan and I are here to say, this is the time to not give up. Like this is the time to actually lean in and go like, I'm going to go even further in. I'm going to lean even further into this. And I think in times like this, it's so easy, and there's no judgment if you like need to take some time and personal time and all that. I'm all for that, right? Like self-care first. That said, don't let the signs of the times take you away from what could be your most profitable, most impactful season of your life. When we're in the seasons of life, when we're in winter, that is when the strong actually rise. And I think like it's not just about like, I just thought of like Game of Thrones, like that's what popped in my head. It's not about that necessarily. It's actually about the bigger picture. Like you have a why behind you that has everything to do with everything beyond you, with everything to do with like making the world a better place. Like if you have kids in your life, inspiring them to what's possible. And again, let me tell you, as someone who struggled as a kid with identity, struggled with, and I'm sorry I didn't trigger warning this, but like ending my life, like I am very aware and tapped into the importance of this message, of Megan's message, because there's never been a more important time for the kids of the world today, who, by the way, are struggling more than any kids in history in the sense of what they're going through, to hear that it is possible to make your own way in this world. So that to me is what being an entrepreneur is. And the last thing I want to say is, Megan, I am so proud of you for winning that visibility event, which I met you at as a judge. And hello, get to Megan's event that she's speaking at with like Jack Canfield and Les Brown, like hashtag no big deal.
Hashtag no big deal. What the heck?
Like, because Megan, you like, if I am the authenticity expert, which I'm crowning myself right now,
I'll send you a crown.
Yes, thank you. Now I'm thinking of RuPaul, get my crown. If I'm the authenticity expert, you are the real deal, my friend. And I said that to you the minute we met. You remember our first meeting? That's the first thing I said to you, and I stand by it. So all of you, you're very lucky to be in this amazing community with Megan at the helm, because she is awesome. Love you.
I love you too. No, I'm really gonna cry. Yeah, that was our first message. He sent me a private DM on the Zoom. He's like, I can tell you really love what you do, and I totally see your authenticity shining through. And I was like,
yes,
I love you already.
Yes. And then you won, and I was like, well, I kind of called it.
Yes. Yes. See, Tony knows his stuff, everybody. Okay. So the link to join us, and it does start on Monday, and it is virtual. That means you can join it from wherever you are on this beautiful planet of ours and pop in and connect with other people from all around the world. Hello. It's so important to have that supportive, encouraging community with you and helping you to navigate this roller coaster of life / entrepreneurship, which is it's always a game, and it's so interesting. It's not what we expected, but it's pretty amazing, right? So the link to join us is in the chat, and I will post it again. And also, if you have any questions for Tony or about the event, he is part of our incredible community. And so please feel free to drop them in the chat below, and I'll make sure to connect you with him, because of course, now that you met him, you totally want to be connected with him.
Yes.
And well, thank you so much, Lovey. It was really fun to chat with you today.
Thank you for having me. This was a pleasure. And yeah, it's like I keep going back to it, but it's never been more important. So I'm really, I feel very lucky to know you, and I'm so glad you're doing this.
And I agree with you. I think it is never been important for us to really show up as our true self and continue to go out there and share your magic and share your beautiful light, shine your beautiful light with the world. And so on that note, continue on that incredible journey, beautiful ones. Continue to energize and empower yourself, because you are so loved and you are so needed. And we are so grateful to have you as part of this community, and cannot wait to see you next week at Authentic Biz Live. Woo! Yes. Okay. Take good care, everybody, and we'll see you very soon. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Mondays with Megan, and I will see you next week. Okay. Bye-bye.